Welcome back. PSC NPF considers the police retirement age for police people at 65. That's one of the things we'll be talking about today on The Press. And joining us now is Comr Alamboye. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Oh, fine, thank you.
All right, that's nice. Good to have you join us once again on The Press this morning.
Thank you too.
All right, you've heard the question. NPF considers 65 years old as a retirement age. What's your general overview about that? Not to a shame, but then at 65, don't you think, I don't know, maybe never say never that a 65-year-old man cannot be agile, but at the same time, 65-year-old, what's your take on that?
Well, I think the prescribed age is a little bit too far for a security outfit as the police, where we should be talking about recruiting fresh and young attitudes and hands to man the police force. I was wondering when I got to see the heading, what will a 65-year-old man be doing in an architectural office as that of the commander of the police force? We need very vibrant hands to hold. But again, if you look at it at service lane, you will be able to know that, okay, let's say if someone enters the force at the age of 20, it means you have to do 45 years in the police force. It's outrageous and not more than enough. We should be talking about young hands, young brains serving that. The police is the closest force to the citizenry, and then it needs very experienced and closer hands. So I think that force should even be a youth-oriented force, where the energy, the skills required, the input or output from that sector should be more viable. 65 years, I think, to me is too far for one to be in service to that age. The police, in fact, all the service forces needs vibrancy and so that they can articulate why they are in service. So 65 is just too much for me. It's an active office, so it's not maybe an administrative office where you talk about. It needs you to have lots of intelligence, lots of energy. I can't even remember, please, I can't even remember how long the IG of police took a tour to the states. In time past, we saw IGs visit states to see the architecture, the state architecture of the police force, to see to know the immediate challenges facing them. It gives confidence to the state commanders. It gives confidence to the state governors. It gives confidence to the state actors and the youths and the populace that the IG is in the so state, wanting to know the security architecture as it concerns protection of citizens and properties. But this is what we see IG sitting down in Abuja, dishing out instructions and all of that. You know, there's one thing, when you're in school, your father says he's coming to school to see you, and there's one thing that is just calling the school authority to know how you're doing. When your father is coming, it means the whole world to you. So that's what I perceive the office of the Inspector General of the nation to be. So 65 is not too energetic for that sort of thing. Again, I think it should be moved a little bit earlier.
Okay, all right. Still speaking on the service chiefs, one of the national dailies, the Nigerian Tribune, has said something about reps turn back representatives, insist service chiefs must appear. And if you're wondering why they call the service chiefs, they call them based on the level of insecurity in Nigeria. Meanwhile, the NSA has come out to say we reached a tough period. That's coming from Ribadu. We said that at editors conference. So I'd like you to answer those two questions. The reps turning back the representatives of the service chiefs. Do you think the service chiefs should have sent their representatives in matters that concerns insecurity in Nigeria? And now we inherited tough period. That's coming from Ribadu himself. All of this together, I'd like you to answer that.
Well, the appearances by representation. I want to look at it in two ways. They are custodians of the same information the service chiefs would have passed. The intensity of why they are invited is not something, to me, to my own conviction. Security issues are not something you deliberate in the open. So perhaps, without speaking for them, this all would have prompted their their schedule. You know, there is always an alarm when the Senate, the National Assembly invites you, and that you're not showing up. There's always this kind of alarm, sort of you're boycotting their invitation. So, in my opinion, I'm thinking that the service chiefs would have been very busy, preoccupied with their activities, and perhaps would have, in a way, not to ignore the invitation of the National Assembly at send representation. Secondly, maybe the issues to be discussed do not really need their appearances, so they can delegate and also achieve the same aim, the same objective of why they are invited. So I would have loved a situation where the interaction would have still gone on, or the National Assembly would have beckoned it very properly that they need them in appearance. Perhaps the letter was just an invitation, and they have said that at the side of their schedule, the social people should go and represent them. So it's two ways. Whatever the situation is, the main objective it would have been, they want to know the state of the state of insecurity, security levels they've put on place, and to discuss further issues. It's something they would have also taken the representation. I don't think it's necessary to send them back to say that the masters should appear in person. These things really don't matter. The main thing you want to get is not their faces, is the issues at hand, and the people they've delegated. Are we going to anticipate that they don't want a situation where they will say they didn't say their representations? The representatives said, if the invitation is to discuss security issues, and for instance, a service chief is sending somebody to represent him, you should know that person has the capacity to stand whatever confrontation. But in standing whatever confrontation, don't you think the service chiefs themselves should have honored that invite? I mean, it's a case of, it's an honor. It's a matter of, if you invite me, all of them sent representatives. Isn't that calling the bluff of the Senate? Because the Senate is calling you to answer some questions. So we have lots of challenges. There are lots of challenges, and to come and stand in the assembly 1 or 2 hours to discuss issues, while maybe, in my own opinion, maybe they have other very important issues they are handling, it shouldn't be an issue. When you invite me and I send a representative, I've also attended to your call. So what matters most is the Senate would have still taken those people on, and in their inability to respond firmly or appropriately on issues being asked, would have said, okay, well, we got your representatives, but they cannot actually take on what we want to know. So we are urging you to appear. So absolutely sending them back was too harsh to my own opinion. Discussions would have still gone on to see if they would have even been able to trash out the issues of clarity they want from the service chiefs, instead of driving them. It's not a rank and file occasion. They needed information, and anybody in the office that is capable of giving such information can give such information to the National Assembly. So that representation they sent there, to me, is quite appropriate. Whether it was communicated to the Assembly or not is one other, because of course, if you are not also going to appear in person, it's honorable that you write to the Assembly before the appearance that due to A, B, C, D, you will not be able to appear, such that a representative is coming to appear. That would have been translated to the National Assembly. If that was done, then fine. But if it was not done and then they took the Assembly unawares too, maybe that prompted the Assembly to say, oh, well, all 5 sent representation and we're not aware. Well, this sounds like, or this seems like an insult to our invitation. They're sending them back. But for national cohesion and objectivity, while they are inviting them, if it is to look at their faces, that is good. You send them back. This is not the faces we want. But if it's for national discourse, the representation is sent, it means that they've honored the invitation. As such, the discussion would have continued. So you're talking about now, let's say let's put for example, they've asked President Tinubu to come attend the summit in the US, and then they send probably a minister or a governor. You think that is appropriate? It's quite appropriate. Yes, you send relatable representation. If not in the matters of insecurity, what I'm talking about. The same thing we are saying. They didn't send a governor. They sent a military man. They send a cabinet man. They send a.
But you would agree with me that there are some things that would go through the table of the chief service chiefs themselves that would not get to those representatives. So there are some questions that they need to answer that
I agree with you. I agree with you, but there's nothing stopping them to have. Is a defeatist now.
Okay.
You would have confronted those issues, and then in their inability to answer,
okay,
you would have made the service chief would have sat down to know that their representation was not competent enough to stand those questions.
Okay.
Now that you've not done that, you've defeated the essence of inviting them.
Okay.
Except they were going to have a personal discussion. I don't know, but if it's for national interest that the service chief sent representation, I think they've done noble well to attending the invitation. That's my own conviction.
Okay, well,
you would have started with them. Ribado saying that they inherited tough times. Of course.
So let's quickly take this call. Good morning, Elder Zion. Good morning. Thank you for calling. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you now?
We're fine, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I thought I see Nigeria is becoming a funny country. A country where election is not held in a particular place, and the result is declared. Where somebody got to three votes, and the 300 were recorded for him. But that is not even the case, because it is local. And if our fraudulent behavior and attitude has gone international, you can remember about 170-something pilgrims were turned back from Saudi Arabia because their visas were cancelled. Maybe it was fraudulently obtained. You see, and unfortunately, President Tinubu was there on a visit. So you start to wonder, where are we going? What is happening to us? If it is other place where things are working well, by now, the Minister of Interior would have resigned. By now, the DG of the people that issues passport, he would have resigned too, to give way. Also time, the government have instituted a committee that will look into that matter. Who these people block the investigation so that nobody is talking, nobody is even there. Nigeria is becoming a country that nobody knows the head or the tail. May God help us to be like other countries.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
God bless all of you.
Thank you, Elder Zion. You too, Elder Zion. Do have a nice weekend. Before we talk about what Elder Zion has said, I'd like you to answer the we inherited.
Yes, I was going to talk about Ribado and his statements. Of course, everybody in the country knows that Nigeria is actually in a tough stage where capable hands should be on board. The issues confronting the nation in terms of economic, in terms of social wise, in terms of political issues, they cannot be overemphasized. So we Nigerians are not ready to accommodate complaints. Nigerians were looking for people that can be saddled with the responsibility of returning the nation gradually back to its standard. So I think Ribado, the NSA, is one of those competent persons that have been brought on board, and he should put his hands on deck. He should put his team very firmly for us to deliver effectively. I don't know the direction of his complaint, but it is true. Nigerians are facing a tough time, but Nigerians do not also need people that will complain this moment. The president had vehemently said it that he is ready to confront the issues. He is going to make sure that he's going to do his best to recover Nigeria to its standard. So everybody working for him or with him should follow suit. The issues are not new. Every minute you waste to talk about the issues, you've also lost an opportunity for finding solutions. So I think he is very capable. He's a nice man. He understands the duty he is saddled with. I think all he needs is to concentrate, avoid distractions, get to the stakeholders that will matter in it, and deliver for the president.
Speaking about avoiding distractions, do you think the president is avoiding distractions by not talking about the 177 pilgrimage that was sent back to Nigeria? Because now one of the papers, I can't remember which one, they said Air Peace and the Saudi Arabia embassy have traded words about who is right and who is wrong. But then the question is, they've said the visas they got were not the proper visas, of course, but then they pass through a lot of checks, because I asked the same question yesterday. Who are we to hold responsible? They must have passed through the airport, passed through the necessary, or let's call it the due diligence we talk about in Nigeria. Yes. And they even got on board, and the plane landed, and they only cleared just 2%. So the question is, like Elder Zion has said, it said something about, in a certain country you would have seen where probably the immigration officers or people that cleared them would have been sacked or called or something. But then everybody just keeps saying, oh, we are on it, we're on top of it, we're on top of it, we're going to have a roundtable meeting and talk about, discuss with Saudi Arabia. But then the sad part was the president was in that country at that period. It's
sad. I was almost not trying to discuss those issues because it's embarrassing. The president was also there. I don't think we've had any information, very vital or very legal information of any other country having finding themselves in this situation. And you see, Nigerians are becoming, some Nigerians, let me put the word, some Nigerians are becoming too inordinate and too ambitious. Because the president is traveling there, everybody found it as an opportunity to meet with him in Saudi and discuss personal issues. That is all the rancor around all this. So people are going to do very dubious things to get down to seeing the president. It's sad. We mustn't do all of this. And it is costing the nation's name, like the elderly man illustrated in his discussion. It is causing us our imagery. It is causing us more pains, and you know, it's an international disgrace, if I may say that. Now back home, it was correct. You know what it takes a common man to even get a visa, a passport, to talk of somebody can have fake passport and travel out. It's untold, and I think the committee, for the first time they are setting up, should come up with something very tangible. We've seen committees here and there, and then at the end of the day, all they do is they take packages and then discard the issues. We will not hear anything about it again. I think this administration should be deliberate about implementing decisions of their committee, ensuring that committee they set up work to the logical conclusion of why they are set up ab initio. So my problem is that, like you rightly said, or like the man said, committees are set up. Committees will do the normal Nigerian work, and we will not hear anything about it again. But again, please, we should be mindful of all this kind of international embarrassment we give to this country.
All right, you've heard from Comrade Alamboye, but my next question is going to be most talking about the Nigerian rule of law and the respect for rule of law. A few days ago, the NLC called for strike, and then some persons have said there was a court injunction that of course banned them from going on that particular strike because Majero, that's the NLC president, was beaten blue-black. But then still talking about the rule of law, in Osun State, there's a ruling or court injunction that has said the governor should not interfere with matters of the court. But then, irrespective of that, Governor Adeleke suspended the Chief Justice despite court orders. So my question to our guest today is going to be, are we looking at ever having a political scene or political gladiators that would actually respect the rule of law? Because even part of the excuse NLC gave was the fact that why is it now that you guys are talking about respecting the rule of law? Because when it comes to the rule of law for politicians, they flout it irrespective of whatever judgment it is. But then now it's coming to NLC, and then they've called for youth to respect the rule of law. But then NLC has fired back and said, you don't respect the rule of law. How do you expect us to respect that rule of law? But then at the end of the day, they gave the excuse of, they've not seen any court injunction or anything. But if they see it, their lawyers would, of course, take the judgment for that. But then in this case, a governor suspended the Chief Justice. Yeah,
okay. I think what you meant is supremacy of the law. Supremacy of the law. I think a friend was actually analyzing the law to me now. And he has described recently, just a week ago, he has described the law as a human being. The law used to be articles for respect. The laws used to be unspoken words for respect. The laws used to be memorables that protects lives and properties. Today, we see the law as a human being. Now, the law as a human being means that someone will have a control of the law. And that is simply what is happening. At every quarters, the law suits, as a human being, suit whom it pleases to suit, and leave whom it pleases to leave. That is what we are seeing. We have seen cases adjudicated upon, results or judgment coming out different, the same cases having different judgments. Today is saddened. The law is the hope of the common man, like people say. Today, the law is in the hands of the rich man. So where is the hope for that common man? How would a governor, who is supposed to be the first man that will protect the supremacy of the law, that will adhere to judgments, do the adverse thing? One thing I was asking myself while you were talking is, was he actually served? There's one thing to say that the court had said there's an injunction on a case or in a matter. The other is, has he been appropriately served? Sometimes this judgment had come and they play to the gallery by saying that they are not aware of such judgment. Okay, now I'd like to bring us back to the Nation's newspaper, because you said that, I know the details, but let's read from the papers. It said the Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke yesterday suspended the Chief Justice, that's Justice Oyebola Adepele, replacing her with Justice Yinka Afolabi in an acting capacity. Now, moving forward, this is despite an interim injunction by Justice Dele Peters of the National Industrial Court still in Ibadan, restraining the governor from removing the CJ or terminating her appointment. We are saying the same thing. When you go to court and you get a judgment, if I was not a party, an injunction, I mustn't be a party. The court have the responsibility to serve me, to print my notice that for such action I must restrain myself, because there's an injunction pending the substantial issues. The little we know about the law. One question I'm asking is, are we sure the governor has not boycotted the reception of such injunction, playing to the gallery to say that he was not aware of such things? Because he has advisors. He has advisors. Yes, according to what they've said now, they said the Osun House of Assembly asked that Justice Adepele Ojo to step aside pending investigation of allegations of misconduct, abuse of power, corruption, and disregard for the rule of law against her. Now, there's also going to be a challenge. I was coming there. I was going to say that what is the State Assembly doing about it? What role are they playing? With your submission now, you can see that it's actually an assembly matter. It's actually a state matter. It's actually an attribute. It's attributed a removal or a stepping aside is attributed to what I'll call irregularities in her functions. So while they are looking at that, maybe she had run to get injunction pending for her not to be removed pending when did that. But in a civilized society, once you're even accused of something, you see people even resign voluntarily to say pending when my issues looked into, I want to step aside while they look into it, where people are sincere, where the laws are followed. People do certain things. I'm not justifying her. I'm not saying that she did actually wrong, but you will see where people do wrong thing and even go to court to take injunction to remain in office to perpetrate more evil or to cover up those defects they've done, the damages they've done. It's sad. But again, if we have to look deep into what is happening, why the governor are taking such stand. It's a parliamentary issue, and perhaps they've endorsed a removal. Then again, what are the dates also matters. When did she get injunction? When is the suspension coming? So if the move has been made and then it has already been endorsed and announced before she got her judgment, they are good to go. So I think it's a play of law, supremacy of the law, and I think it's best we begin to adhere to these laws. Let's not turn these laws to human beings that we can control. Yeah, and they are stable, they are well understood. The laws of this land are written in the simplest language that everybody should understand. But we are seeing situations where the judges are beginning to do them in their whims and caprices to suit whoever it concerns. Yes. Okay, all right. As we wrap up, I'd like to take two questions in one breath. Still speaking about what Ribadu has said about, he said they inherited lots of anxiety. Well, they said they inherited lots of stuff from the previous administration, and then Peter Obi is saying that that's the Peter Obi of the Labour Party, the former presidential candidate for Labour Party. He has come out to say what they are saying does not match the attitude, because you were telling Nigerians to endure. You were telling Nigerians that you inherited lots of hardship and lots of liabilities from the previous administration, but then we've seen where you were buying SUVs and then other exactly. So now I'd like to get your own take on that. Now that Peter Obi has said this, do you actually think the government is going to do something ASAP about that? Well, these are things I like. You know, Peter Obi has not just run the election; he has run the election, and he is staying back to constructively criticize government policies and actions that are not right. This is the best thing to do. This is how you can position yourself in the minds of Nigerians, so that when the election year comes, you will be very visible to your positions to these things that were bad. That is one side. I want to commend him for coming in. He is critically taking a look at issues that concerns the country. And he's not leaving. He's not saying because he has lost his election, he is still contributing. Criticism is also one way to contribute to one's achievement. Now, yes, that is true. The government in recent time had acted the other way round. They say the other way, the other thing, and do the other way round, and it's sad. We are all asked to endure the period. We are all asked to manage with the period, hoping that things will get better. And the other day, I sat down and listened to a senator defending the purchase of highly inflated, costly vehicles. And we're still dragging the 30,000 naira that minimum loan for workers. While they are also sitting down, contesting and even neglecting the increment on minimum wage. How much is it? So if they can bring up whooping some amount of money to buy just vehicles, vehicles means that in the next 1 year, those vehicles will be outdated. They are not going to be what they call it, brand new cars, or recent, or what they call it. What they used to call them now, new cars, in vogue, cars that are in vogue again. So the questions were asked: can they afford? There are Nigerians, there are cars that are coupled in this country. Why are they not going down? Even if it is so necessary that all these National Assembly members do not have cars. What is the level of sacrifice these actors in the government they are playing? I like the very his own words. He said the government spending behavior contradicts their claim. Good. So it's sad. So I think this is where they are going to checkmate the government vis-a-vis what they say. So you come out to say we inherited hardship. If you are actually in hardship, you will not be spending frivolously. That's what the candidate, the former candidate is saying. So if you are in hardship, why are you spending much on even governance? Not like you're spending to even revamp the economy. You are spending on consumables that do not have any impact in resetting the economy. Purchase of this, traveling to do this, and all of that. So I think if there's something they should emulate, let's see what the president is doing. I think he's seriously struggling to see how he can make things work, while others that he has hired to work with him are doing the adverse. So I think they have to give attention to inwards expenditure, frivolities, before they come out to tell Nigerians that we are in hardship.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for that due diligence you did to most of the questions asked, Comr Alamboye.
Thank you very much
for joining us on the press.
Yeah.
All right, our viewers at home, this is where we wrap it up for the press for today. And of course, this week, thank you for joining us. We're sorry if we couldn't take your call. We have limited time. And for those that call in, thank you so much for your contribution. This is where we wrap it up for the press for today and this week. Stay tuned to KAFTAN for more, of course, updates on what is happening on the polity. See you same time, same station next week. Bye.